John, last year we had a chat about the many hats that you wear at the New Saints. Well, you're no longer involved with the school's work, with the foundation. That's been handed on, still ongoing, of course. But it does mean that you're able to concentrate your efforts much more now on recruitment. Have you noticed the difference personally now that you've been able to do that?
Yeah, massively. I'd probably say I'm averaging around 4 or 5 matches a week, if not more. That figure was obviously subsequently quite a lot less when I was wearing all of the 3 hats. Still got quite a bit going on. It's been really good that the club has had the foresight to increase my time around recruitment, and I'm really pleased that people that were working with me have been able to take on the school's programme within the foundation and are taking that to new heights, and I wish them all the best with that, really.
As a ground upper, the thought of 5 games a week is very exciting for me personally. But how do you determine which games to go to? Because I can imagine there's a lot more than 5 on the radar.
Yeah, I plan probably 1 or 2 months in advance, so I look at all the fixtures, probably going down from the Championship down towards the Northern Premier League, and try and work out geographically where might suit, where there might be value in going to watch a game. And of course then when I have conversations with Scott, we may target that a lot more and look at specific games because we're looking at particular players and so on, really. That can change variably as well. I'll give you an example. Yesterday I went to a game in the afternoon to watch a 23s game. I was due to go to a game last night and that was called off. There's been a subsequent game rearranged for Friday afternoon, so I'll have to get my scout request in pretty quickly, so that can never change. But I think the fact that I'm well organised and planned with what I think I'm going to do gives me that time to be reactive if needs be.
And we spoke last time about recruitment and players on the radar, and you said that there is a large number of players who are there being watched to some extent by the New Saints. How do you determine which ones will then make it to the top of the pile, as it were, that you actually go and watch them in a game?
Yeah, Scott will dictate that. Here it's obviously it's position dependent, so for example, if we're looking in a specific position, I will probably highlight 4, 5, 6. We may have recommendations that come on the top of that we may need to go investigate. So for one particular position, you can end up having 7 or 8 players, and then we have to look at that. Scott and I, we rank those in order where we think, who we think would be benefit to come to the football club, and then I work through that list diligently. Sometimes we cross them off, sometimes we monitor them, sometimes we'll make an inquiry with their football club to see what their situation is.
And after we did our last interview, which was last year, as we said earlier, I was chatting to someone who runs a football league, an amateur football league in England, and he was very surprised, amazed even, at the level of detail involved in recruitment. And a lot of fans, John, they probably think, you want a player, just go and sign him. It's as simple as that.
I wish it was that simple. I mean, there are many factors that you have to take into account. I mean, we use video scouting, so that would be using a platform where you can access all the clips, all the videos, all the games, and so before I even go out and watch them on a live basis, I'll have done the background work in that sense. If we then want to pursue our interest in a player, we will make an inquiry to that club to see what their situation is contractually. Again, we sort of have contacts with the game where they'll give us some of that detail as well, so we sort of have some knowledge prior to going in, and then we make a decision from there really as to what the next steps are. Do we want to sign the player? If so, what are the financial implications with that? And that's then when we get the chief exec and the chairman involved, and we number crunch, and then we make an offer or we don't make an offer.
And of course, as we know, there are 2 transfer windows. We're in one of them right now. Are they equal in terms of ease of access to players and signing squad members or new players for a particular team?
think it's twofold. I think if I talk currently about where we're at with the squad, we know we have a squad here that's got a lot of strength and depth, has a lot of quality, and we know can take us to where we need to be, which obviously at the end of the day is we're leading into Europe, and I think we're more than capable of doing that with what we have already. So we then start to become more selective. If somebody's coming into the building, they have to be better than what we currently have in the building. So that makes that target, if you like, a little bit more difficult to obtain, because then we have clubs, I'll give you a couple of examples, where we've been quoted release clauses for players that are way beyond what anybody would pay for them, let alone us here. So, I think what tends to happen is that clubs inflate the prices of their assets in the market. The summer, when more players are out of contract, that becomes a lot easier, because you can have those conversations prior to the window opening. In lots of ways, we find out about what their situations are likely to be at the end of the season. And I'll be honest, in this window, that we've probably done some of that work already. So it's a little bit, double-edged sword in that respect. We'd like to obviously have players through the door in this month. If that's not possible, then we've started to start doing our work for the summer.
And the new Saints has played in the Champions League, and now of course the Europa as well in recent seasons. How much of a pulling power is that when you're talking to potential signings?
Oh, without a doubt, it's a huge pull. If you say to a player that may be playing, I don't know, let's say in the conference, that you have the opportunity to play in Europe, where they wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to play in the conference, then that you can see that the cogs with the players start turning, and you can see the possibilities for them as well. So it is a huge pull.
John, thank you for the insight into your role as head of recruitment for the new Saints. But the final question is, and that's what the fans want to know, of course, we're still in the January transfer window. You've already said that if we do bring players in, they have to be at least as good as the ones that we've got already. So, are there any imminent signings this month?
I will say to you, we're working on one or two things, and to quote one of your phrases, watch this space.